Hi everyone, welcome and thanks for joining the fourth hands-on session. So these hands-on sessions are to help you understand the in-depth implementation of the data cloud. So in every session, we'll have one builder do the hands-on in an org and one drive, the lead will be driving the session. So we have Michelle today to drive the session and Lakshmi will be the builder. And today's topic is all about data integration, integrating and mapping data model. So the first three sessions before this, they were also on the data cloud unification and ingestion. And today we are going to look at the mapping into the data model. Sorry about that. So we do have the deep dive sessions happening parallelly on every Tuesday, 8 a.m. And these hands-on sessions will continue on every Thursday, 8 a.m. So we do have few more sessions lined up. Make sure that you are following the notifications. And if you are part of the group, you will receive all the notifications. If not, you can check I will share the link shortly. You can check all the events published so far. And next Tuesday, we have the deep dive session on implementation best practices and requirements planning. And the next Thursday, we do have data integration that is on the unification of data. And these hands-on sessions will continue. And if you have any questions regarding this session, post them in the chat and we'll address them at the end. And if you have any feedback, any other topics you want us to include, let us know. And any other communications, if you're part of the Slack channel, let us know on the Slack channel. If not, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. So with that, I will turn it over to you, Michelle, and thank you very much, both of you, for leading this session. Thank you.
Great, thanks, JB. Yeah, hi everyone. So before we get started, Lakshmi, I'll just give a quick recap of last week's session just to get everyone on the same page. So Lakshmi, if you click into the data streams tab. Yeah. Awesome. So you can see here, so last week I gave a quick overview of our current data model, the objects, the data streams that we have mapped to DMOs. And then we also began building building a new data stream and mapping a new object, which was the case object. So Lakshmi, if you click on the case object, or yeah, that case data stream, yeah. So again, here, just a quick reminder. So you'll see all of the fields that we've pulled in, those 35 fields that we've pulled in from our case data stream for our connected Salesforce instance. And then also, Lakshmi, if you click on the data mapping review button. Yes, thank you. We mapped all of these, all of our data stream fields to the Data Cloud DMO, case DMO. So again, just a quick reminder that we have a primary key on our data streams, and also, which is that case ID there, and the DMOs and Data Cloud also have a primary key. So it's very important to understand your data sources and what you're ingesting and what those values or the data looks like, and understanding your primary keys and those unique values to make sure that you're mapping those correctly to the corresponding data model objects. And then, yeah, Lakshmi, if you scroll down a little bit and click on the individual arrow, yeah. So again, individual field is also a very important field for identity resolution. So if you're looking to, use this for this example, this, case engagement for a customer, let's say, for example, if you want to use that in identity resolution and have that be a part of your unified profile, once all the multiple profiles have been matched and linked together, this is one of those important fields. So this is where that contact ID from the case object in our Salesforce instance and in this data stream is being mapped to the individual field. So again, that individual field represents a person really. So, and this is a B2C model. So that customer represents that actual customer. So again, that will map once Data Cloud, runs its magic, it'll connect all of those profiles and with these contact IDs or, exist if there's matching IDs, it'll match that into the unified profile. Okay, awesome. So yeah, we can X out of here, Lakshmi. For this session, we're going to map a few more data streams, create a data stream and map those to a couple of DMOs. And then also we're going to walk through some a configuration of identity resolution, and then we can check out a unified profile. So so if you click on the data stream tabs, Lakshmi, and you'll click on the new button on your right. Yep. So we are going to map a Salesforce CRM object. And we're going to actually map the campaign object and the campaign member object. So just pulling in more of, engagement type of related activity and data from our instance. So yeah, if you can click next. And then you have to select the org. If you click there. So we're going to do it from the last one, demo org. And then you'll click on all objects. And then you'll click on or find the campaign object. And then, click next. And then here's where on your left, we'll have to classify this object. So this is again, and I've mentioned this a few times, and it's important, really important before you start building in Data Cloud is that design phase, right? So you really want to understand how you're going to use, if you are, for this example, if you're going to use this campaign data, how are you going to use it? Because the category that you classify this data stream as will have an impact on how identity or first have an impact on what DMOs you're going to be able to map to, and also that identity resolution piece. So how you're going to be able to view that data if you're able to view that data. So actually for this campaign object, we're going to use the other category. So if you just hover over the help text again, just to give everyone. So the other category is really information that's unrelated to profile or engagement information. So again, every use case may be different and depends on your business model, your data model, but very important before you start building to understand what DMOs and what category it's going to be mapped to make sure that once you start building, you have that already organized and configured. All right, so we will leave that as other. And then if you look into the campaign fields, we won't have to pull in all of these fields. So again, something else to keep in mind is only really bring in the data that you need. There's, billing and cost implications of, bringing all these fields in. So again, understand what you really want to bring in. So let's see what we would like to just exclude from this. We could do we could uncheck the actual cost and the value 1 and 34 too. Yep. 33, 32. Okay, we'll keep. Yeah, we can remove the 26 and 25. But again, to just keep in mind, this is, just for this use case, but, once you're really building, you'll have to decide what fields are necessary for your use case. So if we keep scrolling up. Yeah, we can remove last activity. And the last reference date we could remove, 18. Last viewed as well. Okay, we'll keep those. If you scroll up a little more. Okay, these all look good. You scroll up and for the last couple fields. Okay, yeah, I think this looks good. So we can click on next.
Are there any two record type IDs or
Two record IDs?
only one? Why two
Oh.
record? Yeah,
So
one
that's
is
the campaign member record type
Uh-huh.
ID, and then the
Okay.
other one is yeah, we can keep those two.
Yeah.
But yeah, good call out.
Clicking on next.
Yes. All right, so here's where you can edit your data stream name if necessary. And then if you had multiple data spaces, you'd be able to choose the data space, but we only have one, so we'll keep it in the default. And then you'll see your scheduling. So this will be on a batch schedule coming from that Salesforce instance. So yeah, we can click deploy now.
So no need to change the data stream name here.
You can if you'd like. I do recommend identifying each data stream. So let's say, right, so this is coming from the demo org. So you could, keep campaign and add demo org just so you know the Salesforce instance that you've connected it to, just because that Salesforce org ID isn't necessarily helpful at first view. So yeah, that's good. Thank you. Deploy. Awesome. So here is our created data stream. You can see it has object category other, and then the fields that we pulled in. So now if we want to go to the data mapping, yeah, if you click start, awesome. So you can see our data stream on the left, and when you're beginning to map a new data stream, you'll have to select those objects that you want to map to. So on your right, you'll see the select objects button. So we are sticking with the standard data model, and we're going to search for campaign. So if you click on the plus button, and then we'll also map it to the campaign member, yeah. And then you can click done. So you can see that some of these fields have already been automatically mapped. So let's just make sure those are good, and then we'll continue mapping other fields. Awesome. Okay, so campaign ID is mapped to campaign ID, which is good. The description is also mapped to description. Great. Okay, and then the name is mapped to name. Okay, so those look good. So let's map on our left. Let's map the contacts in the campaign. If we click on that, and then let's go to the right and see if this standard model has a field that we can map that to.
With the member or?
I think I see one. Okay, so it doesn't have one. So let's create a new field on it. So if you click on that new field at the top, right underneath the unmapped section, or on the top. Yeah, right there. Yep. Oh, we'll have to save these mappings first. Oh, okay. So it's making we have to map the campaign member primary key too. Okay, so if we'll go to our left and look for the campaign member, there should be a campaign member field there today. If you keep scrolling. Yeah, if you keep scrolling down a little bit or the other way, just looking at all the fields here. Okay, is that there's the only fields here?
Can we search in the?
Yeah, you can search. I just don't, yeah, campaign member or member. Okay, so we might not be able to map to this, or yeah, if you search member or contact or lead. Okay, so there's no lead or contact ID here. Okay, that's okay. So let's, we can, so if we go to the right, and then we can just, if you scroll down, and then if you click on the, so on the, next to the campaign member title, there's that, yeah, edit relationships. Okay, we're gonna have to unmap this. Okay, we might have to start over. So if you actually go up and click close, yeah, we'll confirm that. And then we'll start again. So yeah, again, good example of understanding the design phase is really important to make sure once you start mapping, you understand exactly what you're mapping to. So you don't have to deal with any of these unexpected questions or issues. So again, take your time in the design phase as it's really important. So we'll just map to the campaign object for now. Then you can click done. Yep. Okay, awesome. So we wanted to map the contacts in campaign. So we didn't find a field for it. So if you click on the right, add new field. Okay, we'll have to save this. Yep, so add new field. We could name it contacts in campaign. And that is a number field type. Then we can click save.
Anything with this checkbox?
No, I think it should be disabled. It's usually for text fields
Yeah.
or data types. So that's okay. Yep. Okay. So now we can map for our contacts in campaign. I think you might just, yeah, start on the left and then map it to our custom field contacts in campaign. Great. So let's go back to on the left, our fields, and see what other fields we'd want to map. So we could do the created date. Yep, right there. And we'll see to map it to a created date field here if there is. I think I saw the campaign start date.
Date.
Oh, sorry. So I meant, sorry. So we won't map it to the created date. We'll map it to the start date on the field. Yes, on this data stream. So further down, there's that start date. And then we'll map this, yeah, to that start date. And then similarly, we'll do it for the end date. Campaign end date, awesome. Okay, so let's see what other fields we can map. Yep, status, perfect.
Campaign name.
Yeah, it has two. We could map it. I think we could leave it as is. It's already mapped to that name field, so that would be okay. And then number sent campaign. I think just for our use case, let me see, I don't think there are responses in campaign. So you see that on the left, further down a little bit. There's the response count. Yep. Map that. You scroll down. Is there a type? Yeah, so that type field on our left, it's the second to the bottom. We could map it to the campaign type. And I think okay, I think this is good for now. We'll keep this as is. So we can click save.
Check the mappings once again. Not necessary. Yeah, save and
Yeah, no,
close.
no. Yeah, save and close. Awesome. Okay, so we've mapped this campaign object, our campaign data stream. So now let's create a new data stream, and we're going to map the campaign member. So we can click new, and then follow the same steps. So Salesforce CRM. And then click all objects. So for this data stream, we're actually going to choose engagement. So the reason why is, as a campaign member, you can see if they've sent, responded to, let's say this campaign was an email campaign, if they've responded to the email, opened the email, click the email. So it's more of that engagement activity. So with the engagement object category, yes, you have to choose an event time field. So we're going to choose the first responded date. So you should choose an event time field that doesn't necessarily change. That'll actually give you kind of like that unique date time for that engagement. So for the fields that we want to pull in, let's see. We can keep type, title. Yeah, we'll keep the campaign members, their address and that. Name, the phone. Okay, so it looks, we can remove field 16, lead contact owner. That's a custom field that we don't really necessarily need for this use case. Okay, let's scroll down a little bit. We can remove the fax opt-out and the deleted. Yeah, 20. Yep. All right, so let's stick with these fields and then we can click on next now. And we could, name our data stream. Yep, and click deploy. Perfect, so you can see here, that's been created with our fields. If we scroll back up and start the data mapping. Let's select our objects. And let's start with campaign member. And then we can try to pull in. Yep. Perfect. Done. So you'll see it's mapped the primary key. So let's see what other fields we can map. So let's see. Chose that email field. It's right in the middle. We can map it to the contact point email. And then let's go
Okay.
contact point phone. Yep. And then first responded. Yep. Thank you.
Contact ID to individual or
So the campaign member could be a lead or a contact. So I think there was I can't remember off. Let's save this mapping. There is a ID, or if you go up, let's save it.
there is a status one here and the other one here. Do you want
Yeah,
me
we can
to?
do that. Yep. Let's finish mapping these, and then we can, let's save that. And then if you go back to the data stream, I just want to see that field. If we close out of this once it saves. So if you click close for a second, actually, yep. There is a field that has the leader contact ID. I just can't remember the name of it. Oh, there it is, leader contact, the related record ID. Okay. So that's what we'll map to that individual, right? So, because your campaign member could be a leader or contact depending on your data model, you may need to map both. So that'll have both. If your campaigns only had contact ID and that's what you've been using as your individual, you can also just use the contact ID. So let's map the related record ID to the individual field. So again, that is just mapping to that particular person.
Yes.
Okay, so is there a campaign field that we can map?
The name field.
Which that might be the individual name or the campaign member's name.
And then
Okay, so
source
I don't
ID.
think we have.
Source is there, but not.
Yeah, I think for now that'll be okay. Okay, so that campaign ID, or that second field on the left. Yeah, we can map that to the campaign. On the right, yep. Perfect. Okay, so I think for this use case, we can leave that as it is. Yeah, we can save and close. So we've mapped the individual. And again, this is an engagement object. So we should be able to see activity or that engagement activity within the unified profile. All right, so we've mapped those two objects. And now let's go into the identity resolution tab. Lakshmi, yep, right there. So for those who may have missed a few of those sessions, if you go into the recent and then all identity resolutions list. If you click into that rule set, just to get everyone on the same page. So we've in the previous bootcamp session, I went through kind of how to configure the identity resolution. So this is what our current identity resolution rule set includes. So we're matching on a few different rules. So if you think about it this way, the more match rules you have, there is a greater possibility of matching individuals. The more criteria that a match rule has, it will decrease the possibility of matching those profiles because there's more criteria that needs to be met, right? So just keep that in mind when you're creating match rules. It's important to, again, understand how these individuals from all your different data sources would match. And again, understand your data. So what does that data look like? So you'd be able to create those match rules correctly corresponding to what your data and your values look like. So we're just going to create one more match rule just to walk through what that looks like. So so if you click at it, you'll always get this page and it kind of gives you instructions on how to create a match rule. It's helpful to read through if this is your first time. So if you click next. Awesome. So you'll see all of our match rules already. And then you'll also see at the bottom, you can add a new match rule. Awesome. So we are going to create a new one. And you can see that they have standard ones already created. What we can actually do, so we're going to create a new one based off of the name, email, and phone. So if you just click on that, right, the fuzzy name, email, and phone, we're just going to add one more unique, customize it. So if you click on that next, yes. So you can see the criteria that's already been created. So if we just look at the first criteria, so you'll always have to select the object that you are matching off of. So again, that individual object is really the person. So we've already mapped all the different profile object categories, the engagement. So again, we want to link that back to the individual. So that's where you get, your first name attribute. And that's the first field that you see there. And then the match method, you click on that, Lakshmi, in the drop down, the first, So you'll see that there's different match methods depending also on the field type. So there's the exact, there's the fuzzy low precision, fuzzy medium precision, fuzzy high precision, and exact normalized. So the exact we'll leave it as is, but just going to walk you through what these different methods are. So the exact match method, so if you look at that, so that is just, it's going to be exact. So it has to match exactly. It is case insensitive. So, but it has to be, if your name is Joe, it has to match exactly on Joe. So for last name, we want that to match exactly. So Smith matches exactly to Smith. So for that first one, Lakshmi, the fuzzy medium precision. So for the fuzzy gets a little bit, and there's great documentation on this too. So I can definitely share the link to it. But so the medium precision is that it'll match the values with, same initials, kind of like a nicknames. So it has, again, more of like the medium accuracy. So again, we'll leave that as right, because someone could be Joseph and then another, let's say in the enterprise data, their name is Joseph, but in their mobile app data, they signed up as Joe. So something to keep in mind as you're building these match rules, understand again what your data looks like. If you want to match on certain variants and the precision that you want to match it on. So you can click out of that. Then the third criteria, that contact point phone object. So you'll see that we want this exact normalized. So exact normalized is it's only available for specific fields like the email, the phone, and the address objects. So what it does is it matches still, on like inconsistent formatting or special characters. So for phone in particularly, let's say It'll remove, you know, if someone put a parentheses as their area code, or it'll remove white spaces from a phone number. It's still going to match those numbers. So again, I can send the link to that documentation, but it's really important to understand the different match methods that are available and how you want to be able to create your match rules. And then the last object, that contact point email, similarly, right? So you can see we're matching on the email address, and then it's exact normalized. So we want to get rid of those, you know, inconsistencies in formatting or spaces or special characters, but still it's the same email address. Okay, so then we have this already essentially built for us, but we're going to add one more criteria. So we want to do first name, last name, phone, email address, and we also want to do, so we have a custom field as account number. So if you select your object, which will be the individual object, yeah. And then select an attribute. So this will give you all the attributes that you're able to match upon. I think account number should be there. Yep, account number. And we want to have a match method. We want it to be exact. So we want to make sure that we're matching that, you know, there could be a few different Joe Smiths, but we want to make sure that with the account number, we're making sure it's the same person. So again, you're able to add those custom fields that you maybe have for your data model to include that into your match rules. And the match on blank, we are not going to match on blank, but if for some reason you know, for your use case had to match on blank or allows to match on blank, you have that ability to do that with some of those fields. Okay, so, and then you can also edit your match rule name. Yeah, so if you click on match rule name, and then you can just, yeah, exactly, just add the exact account number. Perfect, and then you can click next. Then you can see we have our new rule created at the bottom. So then you can click save.
1 second, Michelle.
Oh, no problem.
No, I'm just making a note of my questions if I forget.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no problem.
This one.
Awesome. Okay, so we've created a new rule. We have our match rules. Right underneath it, yeah. So if you scroll up a little bit, yeah, so you can see the reconciliation rules section right underneath. Yeah, so this is where reconciliations rules are going to be where you choose the value that will represent the unified profile. So for example, right, let's say we have all of our different data sources. So we have our enterprise data, we have our mobile app data, and then we also have our Salesforce CRM data. You could, you know, have the same field in those different data sources, but, you know, there could be use cases, you know, might be a data cleanup issue that could be addressed beforehand, but there could be a possibility that there are different values in those sources. So this is where you have the ability to specify what value essentially takes the highest priority. So what if there is a differing value, or if there is no value in one data source and there is a value in another data source, which value do you want coming from what data source or data lake object really will represent that unified profile, which is when it matches all the multiple individuals out there and matches it and consolidates it into that one unified profile. So which value is going to take priority. So if you actually click into the contact, or actually the individual, yeah, the individual, and you click under there. There's different, so this is where you'll see all of your individual fields, right? And then if you scroll up a little bit, you'll see that default reconciliation rule, source priority. Yeah, if you click on the little pencil, so there's 3 options for reconciliation rules. So if you click on that drop down, where it says, yeah, so there's 3 options. So there's the last updated, which is essentially, it means that the most recently updated record will be selected for the unified profile. So the most recently updated will be selected. Most frequent means the most frequent occurring value will be selected for that unified profile. And then the source priority is really, it sorts out your data lake objects in the order that you prefer to the least preferred. So we, for this use case, have this entire object as a source priority. So if you click on, if you click out of there, you can see here that here are data lake objects that we've ingested, we've mapped to the individual DMO. And you can see the order that we prefer, right? So for this individual object, we want our enterprise data values to take priority, over that mobile app data and the contact CRM data. Again, this is based off of your use case and how you'd want to configure it. But here's a good example of what a source priority would look like. And again, you can move, your data log objects up and down. And once you have that configured, you can click save. So you can click save, Lakshmi. And then, so it will stay here, but then you can see, there's the 3 columns, right? There's the field, the reconciliation rule, and the using default column. You can see that some of the fields, so you can customize it at the field level, that some of the fields are not using the default. So let's actually click into, I think bank name would be a good one. Yeah, so if you click into it and then yeah. So here, if you remember just a second ago, we were looking at the default order, right? So we were looking at the individual object high level order. We want to prioritize that enterprise data, but here's a little bit different. So for the bank name, again, depending on your use case, you can change this priority at the field level. So for our bank name in this use case, this financial institution, they want to prioritize, the mobile app data. So, right, the mobile app data could be a little bit more updated, for example, and more recent. If you think about it, a customer signing in, linking their bank, more recent than your enterprise data. So again, you can prioritize the data lake objects and those values depending on at the individual or at the object level, but also at the field level. So you can see this one's a bit different in priority order than what the individual one that we just looked at. So for the bank name use case, we are actually prioritizing that mobile app data rather than, over the contact data coming from Salesforce and that enterprise data. All right, so we can click save now. That's how you can configure at the object level or field level your different reconciliation rules. And you could recommend that you do that for each object. So you see here each object, so the contact point phone, the contact point email object up top. Lakshmi, yep. So again, definitely would be able to walk through each object and then also at the field level. So you can keep it as just a default, but again, you can get in specifically into that field level if you needed to for those specific fields. Okay, so we've created the match rule set. We've looked at the reconciliation rules, and now I just wanted to see, so you could maybe thinking, all right, so now how do I validate this data? How do I look at an individual or a unified profile? So Lakshmi, on the Profile Explorer tab, it's right next to the Identity Resolutions tab. Further up in the middle, Profile Explorer, right up.
Sorry.
Yep. No, that's okay. Perfect. All right, so we've mapped, we've created identity resolution, the match rules, the reconciliation rules, and now you can look for one of those unified profiles. So if you click on default, nice, and then select an option, so it gives you that unified individual option. Then you can search on an attribute once it loads. And we are actually going to do the email address. So we're going to search for my email. I can spell it out for you. Sorry, 2 M's. ED
D.
INA at my MY Cervello CERVE. Yep, perfect. .com. So let's click search. So you can search on different attributes just for this use case. I find the email just to be a bit easier. And I have a bunch of test records, so I know a lot will come up. So we're actually going to look at that first record. So you click on the view tab. So these are all the unified profiles that have been, the unified profile has been created based off of the individuals and based off of those match rules, right? So you could see that I had a bunch of test records, but because of those match rules, it's not going to create a unified profile just because of my email. So you can see here on the right, you'll see our contact point emails, right? So that party field, I mentioned this in the last session in the bootcamp session, that party field is on every attribute object. So every contact point attribute object, and that refers back to the individual. So keep that in mind as well. So you can see here that for all those party fields, it's still the same ID. So that's how it's connecting these profiles together. And you can see here, I have a different email address that Michelle app tests. So this could be a use case where, I signed up on the mobile application with a different email. And then you can see the contact point address. So right underneath, you notice the difference in how the addresses were spelled. So again, that fuzziness and exact normalized, this is where it comes in, right? So there's from one source, I wrote out third, but then I used also the number 3. So again, keep that in mind with the matching rules. That's where it'll really come on in. And then the unified individual contact point phone. I have a few different phone numbers, but again, it's mapping back to the party field, that ID. So based off of those match rules and that ID that we've mapped to. So on the left, Lakshmi, yeah. So if you see that individual related, yeah. So if you click on show more, and click on show more again, I think there should be more individuals here too. Okay. Oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah, click again. I don't know if that might be it. Okay, that might be it. So here you'll see this related object, the individuals. These are all the different individuals that were matched for this unified profile. So if you just widen that first column, yeah. These are your different data source objects. So you can see here, we have marketing cloud data coming in. We have the contact object and the last 3. So that third one, right? That's our enterprise data. That's our S3 bucket from Amazon. And then we have subscriber data. And then we also have that mobile app data at the bottom. Again, all of the different individuals and consolidated into this unified profile. All right, so if you notice here though, in the contact column or the contact individual, and then that S3 Cervello right underneath it, yeah. You can notice here that there's 2 different account numbers. So that goes, if you think back to that reconciliation rules, right? This is where you define, what value is going to represent the unified profile. So we prioritize that enterprise data, which is the S3, the enterprise lake data. So if you scroll up a little bit, you can see in the unified individual, right? It's pulling in that data. That's the value that's representing that unified profile. But again, looking at all the individuals that it matched, that's where the reconciliation rules would come in. So now that we have this, if you scroll down a little bit, Lakshmi, this activity tab, you can see there's no activity to be displayed. So this is where you'll see all of those engagement objects that we've mapped. This is where you should, if they've had any activity, this is where you should see them. So on the right of this related, if you click on that filter button, or right there, maybe click on last 90 days and see if there's anything, and click apply. There might not. You scroll down, doesn't seem like it. Okay, so we've also, if you click on that filter button again, you can see here that there's only 2 activity types, right? So there's a device application engagement that was actually covered, I believe, in the first bootcamp session that I walked through, and then the email engagement, I believe, was also covered there. But last week we added a new engagement, and today, which was the case object and campaign members. So we want to include that in here. So if you X out of here, Lakshmi, and scroll up to the setup icon here at the top right, then we're just gonna, you don't have access to that. Okay. I wanted to edit the page. So, that's okay. So with the page, you're able to edit, maybe I can, let me see if I can give you access to that really quickly. Okay, if you try refreshing your page, Lakshmi, hopefully that will come in quickly. Let's see if you have access then. All right, perfect. So if you go down to edit page, so you can build this unified profile Lightning record page with the app builder here. And what we've done here is pull in those related tabs for the individual, for the activity, for the unified contact points as well. So if you click on the activity section, just click on that. So you'll see on the right, we're getting some populating. Things are populating, right? So you'll see the last section, select engagement DMOs. So here's where you can select all of those different engagement DMOs that you've mapped to. So you can see we've mapped to the case and campaign members. So now those are available. So select those over, so we can see that. If you just click on campaign member on the left, and then click that arrow button. Do the same thing for case. Perfect. And then click OK. So now you'll see that when we save that, I don't think, it might not show, but those will now be able to also be visible for this activity. So if you click save, and then actually click on activation. I just want to show you this too. So let's see. Right, so you can see that this is your org default for this page, but if it wasn't, you'd be able to select different pages for this or this default page. But this is the default for the data cloud record page, so you can close that. Click save again. I'm not sure if it's saved.
It is saved because we can see the campaign number.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So you can click out of there. All right, so hopefully there should be some activity here. So let's click on that filter and then do the last 90 days just to make sure. All right, so here you can see some cases coming in, right? The case and date field. So again, that's where you'd be able to see activity. So if they were part of a campaign member, a campaign member, you'd also be able to see that here. That's it. I'll leave some time for questions. Thank you, Lakshmi, for being the builder. I appreciate your patience. Is there any
Thanks,
questions
Michelle.
now? Yeah.
Yeah, it is great session. And thank you, Lakshmi. So I'm just reading out the questions. Is there a place you recommend that has a listing of the primary keys, relationships, and required fields on the DMO objects in the customer 360 model?
Yes, Ryan. So Salesforce has a really good I'm going to send a link. Let me see if I think I have it open. So they have all the standard DMOs here, lists out all the fields, the relationships and objects. So it's definitely really helpful. And I think it's key, especially your first time implementing Data Cloud, especially with the data mapping. I think it's a great resource to reference as you're mapping to those DMOs.
Thank you. On the next one, can we also connect to Marketing Cloud Data Extension as next data stream?
Yeah, we can definitely do that for the an upcoming session. It won't necessarily connect to a data cloud, a data extension, but it's connecting Marketing Cloud to, you know, like journey DMOs or engagement DMOs. So yes, that definitely could be included in our upcoming sessions. And Tim covers that a little bit, and he will cover that in his sessions on the activation piece too, and how we can get this data actionable in Marketing Cloud. So that'll also be a good session to attend.
Yeah, and then we have 3 more hands-on sessions lined up. As of now, we might have more. Just make sure that you are following the page or LinkedIn updates or the Slack channel updates. So you get notified whenever there's a new event coming up. And as always, I will try to post this at the earliest possible on the YouTube. If you want to go back and rewatch, you can go and check it out. And any other questions, you can send on the Slack channel. Thanks, everyone. And thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Lakshmi.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.